That's what Chuck said, and probably true. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
In both places, I hope. All right. I thanked Julie and Judy for this sing song, and I know we enjoyed that and appreciate it. We all feel better now. And I'm about to introduce the members of the executive committee who are present, either in person or on Zoom. Jerry Smith, who's the vice president. Just wave when I call your name. Mary Kevorkian, secretary. Mary Bowles, treasurer. Max Sherman, designated member. Sheldon Lloyd, designated member. And members at large, Julie Brooks, Lori Humphreys, Cynthia Leach, and Camille Miller, and Sharon Verlander, non-voting assistant treasurer. So these people do a lot of work for the association and for the residents and the community. So please join me in giving them a hand of thanks. I would also like to introduce the new residents who have moved to Westminster since our last meeting in December. I don't think many of them are present, but I'll call their names and make a point of recognizing them when you see their name tags or seeking them out and saying hello and welcome. Tom and Carolyn Curtis, Dan and Phyllis Waddell, Nancy Scanlon, Jackie Williamson, Jerry Pritchard and Joanne McKenzie, Jeanette Brooks, David and Donna Poole, and Glenn and Tracy Novinger. Those are all new residents who have joined us since December 5th. So let's give them a hand of applause, even if they're not here. In fact, Joanne McKenzie may be here. Are you here? Maybe changed her mind. So the next item on business, one of the bylaw changes that we'll be discussing later tonight is to allow residents to participate in meetings virtually. But until that change is made, we'll need a vote of the members in the room to allow that tonight. So I'll entertain a motion from someone in the room allowing residents to join the meeting by Zoom and to participate in this meeting as fully as if they were here in person. Motion's been made. Okay, would you identify yourself for Lori? Who made the motion? You get it? Yeah. Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? You don't see anybody up there you don't want to let join? Okay. All right. Who seconded the motion? Okay, thank you. All right, the motion carries, and so the Zoomers are with us with the right to vote. The next item of business is ratification of actions taken by the executive committee and the members at their meetings using Zoom. The executive committee met by Zoom 12 times during the period that in-person meetings have been prohibited, and the members met 3 times by Zoom. Our bylaws do not expressly permit Zoom meetings or provide for them. And so it's appropriate for us today to ratify and confirm the actions that were taken at those meetings. And so I'll entertain a motion to ratify actions taken by the executive committee in all of its meetings in 2020 and 2021, and to ratify the actions of the members at the second and third quarter and annual meetings in 2020. Do I hear such a motion? Is there a second? Okay. I'll be happy to answer questions if anybody has any about the actions that were taken, but I'll mention a couple. In addition to every month approving the treasurer's report and committee reports, the executive committee appointed an assistant secretary, and an assistant treasurer. It adopted a records retention and records transfer policy. It adopted a policy and charter for the Writers Journal. It approved the budget for the Writers Journal. It gave the vice president oversight of fundraising activities. It created the Westminster Residents Present Committee, and many, many other things. It approved the RAF goals for the year and approved the amount of distribution to the employees. So all of those actions were part of the business of the executive committee during the year. And of course, at the annual meeting, when we met by Zoom, new members of the executive committee were elected. So are there any questions about this ratification? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The next item of business is the president's report. And it's a matter of custom, if not law, that the president has to tell a joke at the beginning of his report. So here's mine. It's a lawyer joke, and it's an old one. It's one I first heard at a Southwestern Oil and Gas, Southwestern Legal Foundation Oil and Gas conference in Dallas in the mid-1960s. And so I'm counting on all of you who have heard it before to have forgotten it. So here's how it goes. Two brothers were raised in poverty, but they grew up well. Their mother scripted and saved to send them to Harvard. One brother went to Harvard Law School. The other brother went to Harvard Business School. The brother that went to the law school became general counsel of the circus. And the brother who went to Harvard Business School became chairman and CEO of the biggest bank in the city. And the brothers lost contact, but many years later, the banker brother got word that the circus was coming to town and that his brother would be there. So he went down to meet his brother, and the circus was parading from the rail cars in those days to the arena. And he looked and looked for his brother. And then finally, here came the elephants up the street. And behind the elephants with a broom was his brother cleaning up their droppings. And he was aghast. He ran up to his brother and he said, oh, this is awful. This is awful. You come home with me. I'll find a place for you in the bank. You don't have to do this. And the brother looked at him and said, what? And give up the practice of law? All right. It works for any profession. You probably. So now to the activities of the Residents Association in the first quarter of 2021. The executive committee met each month by Zoom. Chuck Borst meets with us each month, and that gives us a chance to discuss with him what's going on and to hear from him firsthand. Other actions we took, donation letters were sent to the residents donating to the Residents Appreciation Fund, which, as you will recall, was a great success. Committee chairs were appointed for the year in January. We approved the budget for another edition of the Writers Journal. I'll remind you that the Writers Journal is self-supporting, and the 2021 edition is scheduled to be released on September 1st, and submittals to the journal are still being accepted through April 30th. So if you have a story, a memoir, a poem that you'd like to share with your neighbors, please send it in. The Residents Association's activities have grown a lot, and in February, we decided to hire an outside accounting firm to assist us with the bookkeeping functions and to provide continuity. And we started planning for the time when Westminster will be reopened, and that included Hidden Treasures, which had its first sale in March, raised over $1,100, I'm happy to say, and thank you to everybody that worked on that. We happy hours have begun again. Friday afternoon happy hour before dinner in the Preston Courtyard. We've already had 2 of those, which I think have been well attended and well received by those in attendance. And the Wednesday afternoon happy hours will be resuming in Harrisville Hall. And Westminster Presents has had a full program. Now they'll be presenting live here in Harrisville Hall. So thanks to Laura and her committee for all the work they've done on that. And Casino Night will be returning this Thursday night. And by the way, there are still some $40 tickets available at the reception desk. And I'll remind you that this is a Resident Association fundraiser, and the ticket purchases qualify as a charitable contribution. So please, if you haven't already bought a ticket, consider doing so. All Resident Association documents are now available on the portal, on the resident portal. And we have discontinued the practice of filing copies of the minutes in the library, freeing up some valuable space for Helen. And in that regard, we have supported strongly the effort of Sheldon Lloyd and the IT committee to find ways to reduce paper usage at Westminster. And Manny Subramanian is spearheading that effort. Thank you, Manny. And finally, you'll be relieved to hear that the audit committee, headed by Sheldon Lloyd, gave our next presenter a clean bill of health. So congratulations, Treasurer Mary Bowles. You're next. Help you up here. This will be the layman helping the hall.
Good, I can take this off. Well, bless all your little hearts for coming to the meeting. No doubt you are looking forward especially to the treasurer's report. But we'll start with income, which is always nice to talk about. And income, especially when we had so much this quarter and so little last year. Get CD interest out of the way, it's 163. Well, I've got here, glory, hallelujah, and I say it reverently, Hidden Treasures isn't hidden anymore. They came out with a remarkable 1178. Then we have what we call donations on the books, and it's really casino money, but that sounds a tad risque. So as of today, it's 4320. We'll have more before the show goes on Thursday, but this is a whopping total income of $5,560. Now, we do have to talk about expense, whether we like it or not, but they are $50 for books, $750 for the beautiful banner, $270 for contributions to the Friendship Fund, and $5 for a bad bank charge. The charge was bad, and so was the bank, but we'll get that later. So total expenses, $1,076. The Writer's Journal had $1,276 added to it this year. To its reserve, which is carried on the balance sheet. Although we don't like to talk about the balance sheet, it's so cool. The total is ample to print the next edition.
14.
All the above, we have a sparkling bank balance of $17,978. Now, I'm so excited to talk to you about the CDs. Our three 12,500 darlings are all on a 2-year maturity now, and they carry an interest rate of 0.0016. Now, although I don't want to, now I must tell you about that $5 bank charge. And they have a $125 item on suspense. Westminster, the Westminster, gave us a check for the Writers Journal of $62.50, which we duly deposited. Lo and behold, here came a notice. The check had bounced. In addition to that, we now find the bank has charged us twice at $62.50 twice. It's $125. Really, of course, Westminster had the money. It was an internet thing. And it is hoped that I can heap wrath on the bank to get this adjusted in the next few days, plus get our $5 bucks back. This is a small item, but I must, in all honesty, report these things, you understand. Any questions? I'll be around. Now, before I go, little children, there's an accounting lesson that I have to give you. On our next lockdown, there are only 4 ways that you can go: a monk, a chunk, a hunk, or a drunk. Choose wisely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Personally, I would not want to be that employee at Frost Bank. Moving on, beginning late last year, the executive committee started reviewing our bylaws for needed changes. And the result of that work is in the bylaw amendments, which have been furnished to you as the recommendation of the executive committee. Now I'll say a few words about the main changes and then answer your questions if you have any. The primary change is to increase the size of the board, that is the executive committee, from 10 to 12 members. This number of 10 was established many years ago, before the Windsor was built, and certainly didn't anticipate a second expansion like the Carlisle. So we believe that as those expansions make Westminster a larger and more diverse community, it's fitting that we have a larger board, so that as many diverse views as and as much representation as is appropriate can be had. A second need that became apparent, and we've talked about it a little before, was for virtual meetings. And the proposed language, which I think is showing up in bylaws of every organization in the country now, is for virtual and hybrid meetings. And it allows for a person, for example, who's away from home and on the board, to participate by phone or by Zoom. It allows for meetings by Zoom when that's appropriate and it's difficult for everybody to get together. And so we have established procedures for both the board and the executive committee and the residents association meetings to be hybrid or by Zoom, or by individual participating by Zoom. So are there any questions that you'd like me to address about the bylaw amendments? Anybody on Zoom, you raise your hand if you have a question, and she will unmute you. All right, I don't see anybody. So this is a proposal of the executive committee, and therefore I don't think it does not require a motion. It just requires your approval. So, or disapproval. So are you ready to vote? If so, all in favor of the proposed changes to the amendments to the bylaws signify by saying aye. Any opposed? I don't hear or see any, and therefore the bylaw amendments are adopted. Thank you very much. Yes. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What did she say?
Name 2 new members.
Yes, that's the next item on the agenda. Thank you. So to fill the 2 new positions on the executive committee proposes Bobby Collins as a member of Class 1 with a term ending on December 31, 2021. And Jim Woodrick as a member of Class 2 with a term ending December 31, 2022. Bobby has been chair of the Food Committee among her many other activities here at Westminster. Jim, many of you know through his presentations here in Harrisville Hall and on Zoom. And he's, among other committees he served on and other activities, he's on the editorial board of the Writers Journal. So are there any questions or other nominations? If not, all in favor of electing those 2 persons to the executive committee, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Therefore, congratulations, Bobby and Jim, and thank you for agreeing to do this. So the next item on the agenda is a report of the executive director, Chuck Borst. You're on, Chuck.
Sir. So what ball game are we missing?
The national champion.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. All right, I need to get you out of here then, right? Okay. No, we don't want to do that. Share the screen, that's what we want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna show you a little video first, hopefully, if it works. Looks like it's going to, yeah. I've never done this on Zoom before, so excuse me.
The new standard of senior safety has arrived. Introducing EverSafe 360, the latest signature experience from LCS. Our innovative program raises the bar in overall safety for residents and staff. EverSafe 360 provides cutting-edge air quality enhancements and advanced cleaning protocols while reimagining the way we live and work together. EverSafe 360 proactively addresses safety measures by utilizing the LCS National Medical Advisory Board for real-time guidance, implements telemedicine technology for timely medical consultations, and prioritizes the mindfulness and well-being of every resident to create a truly comprehensive approach to care. Harnessing 50 years of senior living industry leadership, LCS created EverSafe 360 as the next evolution in the endless pursuit of elevating the total resident experience.
All right, so those of you, how many knew that I worked for a company called LCS? Oh, all right. They'd be so proud of me for you saying that.
Can you take your mask off, Chuck?
I am going to, yes, just a sec. I am really live under here, so just so you know. It's been an interesting year, right? And I appreciate your patience. It's been a very trying year, and for not just Westminster, but for Life Care Services as well. One of the things that you know, I had actually done emergency planning for Westminster years ago, back when I first started here. We had an emergency manual, a disaster manual, and I was tasked with rewriting it. And my pandemic policies were about, that thick. And now they're about this thick. We've learned a lot. EverSafe 360 is part of what we've learned. And it's really a brand that we're talking about. And one of the things Life Care Services is doing is implementing a lot of the things, the best practices that we learned here and that we adapted here to other communities across the LCS portfolio. We have 150 communities across the United States. Not every solution that we put in place worked, but a lot of it did, and a lot of it continues to work, and it evolves, and you all have helped evolve those policies and procedures. And we've saved lives because of the policies and procedures and precautions that we've had in place. And I know it's been unpleasant at times. And it's so nice to see all of you in a room again. So happy that we can have activities together again. So happy that you all are vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. And it's just been, we made it through a pandemic, one of the worst ever. And we did it successfully, and I appreciate all of you for that. And we have an incredible group of associates, as you know, that have fought alongside of us and led us through a horrible year. But we've done it, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, like Boyd said. And it's just great to see you all together again. I want to just talk to you a couple minutes about EverSafe 360 and some of the things that we're trying to do. And we say 360 because we want to look at it all 360 degrees, that we're covering everything. That we want to develop programs in an ongoing way if we ever are met with a pandemic again, and with this ongoing pandemic, that we have plans and systems in place to help us in the future. One of the biggest things that you'll be seeing is an air quality improvement project that we've started. We're managing the humidity in the buildings to make them safer. We're going to be using ionization, pinpoint ionization in our fan cool units and air handlers around the campus to kill germs and viruses in the air and to make our breathing environment better. Some of the things that we've done with the grab and go continental breakfast and the delivery options that we've been using, a lot of that's being used at other communities across the United States. Creating safe visiting areas, outdoor guest access. We're also going to be implementing some telemedicine to help to supplement our nurse practitioner clinic. We'll have that during the day, but we'll also have telemedicine help in the evenings and on weekends. Our community activities, which can't be beat by anyone. Our community activities are extraordinary. Even during the pandemic, the amount of activities that Ruth puts on and that you all put on, and you lead our activity program, was incredible. No other community in the country can match what we've done. I look better in the dark, so that's why they're turning off the lights. But virtual activities, some of the 1890s, the in-house channel programs that you've created, resident collaboration, that's something we've been doing here for very successfully for many years, is being implemented across the country based on the model that Ruth has used here successfully. Marketing and sales. So we are talking about EverSafe 360 because people are afraid to move into senior living right now. Senior living, if you're watching the news, is getting a bad rap. And there have been some really terrible things that have happened in senior living. But those terrible things are not happening here at Westminster. And I hope you feel confident in saying that yourself. Purchasing, one of the things that we struggled with and others struggled with early on was getting PPE, the mask that you're wearing. It was difficult for us to get. In fact, some of you helped sew masks together while we were waiting to get, official hospital grade PPE. So we've set up some purchasing programs and some warehousing programs where LCS now has a central warehouse, and we're storing 2 million masks all the time as a par level for all of our communities to keep on hand. Those are some of the things. And then, of course, we've created a program called EverClean, which is a Procter & Gamble program partnering with LCS of chemicals and sanitizers that we can use in our operation. And Antonio and his group have actually implemented those things a full year before LCS rolled it out. So really proud of the team. And if you also notice at the beginning of this pandemic, we had lots of food, lots of supplies. We had lots of toilet paper. We never ran short. And it really speaks well to the leadership team. Every leader in our organization worked proactively to make sure that we had the supplies that we need. When we were running short of sanitizer, hand sanitizer, we were making our own. Whatever it took to keep the doors open and to keep you all protected and supplied and well fed, I think we did that. And if you have a chance, you see that some of the leadership around the community, thank them for that, because it was an extraordinary job. I can tell you, Snowvid, the Texas blizzard, was another example of leadership team pitching in, working together, staying overnight, making sure that we had plenty of food on hand. Did you have a limited menu? Yes, you did, just a little bit. But there were communities out there that were running out of food and calling us to, help us with food. We never even got into our freeze-dried stuff in the buckets up in the emergency storage. So not that I ever want to get into that, but if we had to, we do have it. So, the team just did an extraordinary job. Everybody really pitched in. Some of you may have seen some sweatshirts that the associates are wearing. It says, I survived the blizzard. So everyone that worked extra or pitched in received some type of bonus, and they also received those shirts as a testament to what they did. Technology, you residents are pushing us for more technology, and I love it. Keep pushing, because I do want to challenge the status quo. I want to try new things. I want you to use your resident portal and use it in a way that it's engaging and fun and easy to use. So we're learning some things along the way. Wi-Fi has been disappointing this year. I have a meeting with the Wi-Fi provider tomorrow. We received a credit for half of last month because of the issues we had with the Wi-Fi going in and out, failing intermittently. And so they credit us, and we're going to get the system up and running the way it's supposed to be. And, like I told them when they installed it, you guys are going to use it. And I wanted them to treat it like a college dormitory, right? That you're going to hook up all the devices, and we need to make sure that our Wi-Fi is flying high, and it needs to. So they know that. We're going to be working on that the next couple months. They talked about the medical panel, and that's something that we just implemented. Plant operations over the next few months, you'll be seeing some installations of improved HVAC controls. Humidity controls have already been installed. And then also that pinpoint ionization, which is supposed to be healthy ionization. So we'll tell you more about that as we go along, but we're going to concentrate on common spaces first, so the corridors, and having those items installed in the corridor air handlers first, so that we keeping our corridors safe. Human resources, much like what we did last year with our compensation bonuses for our associates for doing an extraordinary job under difficult circumstances, and making sure that they're supported in all that they need, and then sharing advice and best practices among all the communities. We continue to do that. So I'll talk about EverSafe 360 as new programs roll out. It's an evolving program, so expect to hear more. But it's a term that I really want everybody to get familiar with, because it's something that we see as a signature experience for LCS managed communities only. And it's something that we're going to be working very hard on to make sure that if we're ever met with a pandemic, that we're well prepared for it, and better prepared than we were this time. Although I think we did a really good job under very difficult circumstances. We haven't had any changes in our COVID numbers. We haven't had any active cases, and I hope that continues. We are in phase 3. Yes, I agree. No active case, and I hope that continues. We are in phase 3, and this is not a picture of any of you because I couldn't find anybody without their mask on, so that's good. But everybody knows what phase 3 is. We have opened up visitation. Are we still wearing masks? Yes, we are. Dining is limited to 50%. I hope to increase that to 75% in May. And then we'll hopefully go back to regular seating arrangements sometime in June, hopefully, assuming our numbers in the state and the county keep continuing to decline, which they seem to be. We're not quarantining folks unless they're symptomatic or they have traveled via mass transit. I wouldn't recommend traveling mass transit until you feel like it's safe. Those are the most vulnerable situations typically, and those are where people are getting infected. There are no guest rooms available, and I expect that to continue probably through May, maybe June, early June. We hope to open the guest rooms again for outside visitors. Visitation is open for healthcare and assisted living, normal visiting hours, and you need to make sure that you're following the screening guidelines. So make sure that you're screening in just like you're an outside visitor. Make sure that you're wearing your mask, and you need to schedule an appointment to go to healthcare. You still can't go into healthcare like you used to, where you could just go in anytime. Remember, healthcare and assisted living are different licenses. So they're held to a different standard. We have to follow the state regulations when it comes to those two entities. And right now they're requiring us to log every visitor into that space. So that's why you're not able to just go into one of those areas without having appointments. And then when you're in there, you need to maintain social distancing and making sure that you're screening through the temperature process and everything. I promised to do a little presentation on the Windsor Courtyard. I'll try to do this quickly. Let's see. I know you can't see this on the screen if you're at home, but I'm going to use a clicker. This is not the Borst Wall right here. This is a water feature, which will have a lot of nice plantings around it. It's going to soften it up a lot, but it'll be a very nice water feature. You can see this is built already. We're going to be installing pergolas. These are louvered pergolas, so you can open and close them based on the weather and the temperature outside. So, you know, if it's raining, you could still use the area. If the sun is really beating down on the area, we can shut those. Those will probably be installed in the next couple weeks. This is outside dining area, will be installed the next few weeks. This is a little fire pit that has natural gas to it, and a little sitting area. And then the outdoor kitchen that nobody understands why we have. We have it because we didn't have it before. It's one of the things that Westminster is always trying to do is stay competitive, right? We always want people to want to move here, right? We want people to live here. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there's a lot of senior living communities popping up all over town, right? And we have to stay competitive. So we self-assess. We look at ourselves and ask ourselves, are there things that other senior living communities have that we don't have? And if so, should we install those types of things? Pizza ovens and barbecue grills are some of those things. Do I expect you to go out there on Tuesday night and make pizza? No, but I will have some events out there with our happy hours and things where we're serving, you know, pizza and maybe a margarita or something like that. It's just another destination space for you all, right? Do I think you use the barbecue grill a lot? No. Anybody want to? Yes, I know there are people that want to. So we have that available now. We didn't have it before, but we have it. It's going to be safe. We'll supervise it, of course, and teach you how to use it. and we'll try not to have grease fires or anything like that. But you know, we always pull out that mobile barbecue pit that I use to grill burgers for the associates. Now we have a space to do that. We'll have some outside events, some hot dog roast and whatever, but it's just another destination space. It's trying to add value to your residency here, right? We did lose some space for the new wellness area. This is all the therapy gym and the new gymnasium, the new exercise gym, the fitness gym is going to be in here. And this is an activity area, which we hope will get used more than the putting green did, because it never got used, hardly ever. This is gonna stay in place. One of the things that I've heard from residents is that we would like to cover this with something solid. We have found a product that we will be installing on this pavilion that will provide shade, and it's a solid substance. So it'll keep the rain off of you and should keep the sun from burning the top of your head if you have to worry about that like I do. The sitting spaces, the raised beds pretty much stay the same. There has been this area added, which you can see now. And it's really for therapy rehabilitation. There's some ramps there and some stairs to do exercise because we really, the therapy folks really wanted a better space to do that. And then there's some exercise equipment here as well. And then we will get a fireplace in here, which should be, it's already built, and then a small shed that will house some equipment for us. And then of course, these spaces stay the same. Those are gonna be still conversation spaces that we have out there. And I'm not even gonna go over this plan because I understand it's not easy to see. One of the things that what we tried to do is push the Windsor Courtyard earlier in the project. Originally, it was planned to come to us at the end of the project after the Windsor Tower was built. And we really pushed the White construction team to give us that courtyard as soon as possible so that you can start enjoying it as much as possible. Another thing that we're pushing them to do is to give us the bistro back as soon as possible. And that's why they're building this. They built this already. This is the exterior wall. And then there'll be a corridor that wraps around the new bistro. The bistro is going to be in here. They're going to start demolition in the bistro next week. If you've seen it, we've completed the bridge. And we're working with the city to try and convince them to let us use that bridge so that we can get to the pool. They're not very cooperative right now. They want to count it, the whole thing as one project, and they're not really wanting to give us access to this, even though it's sprinkled. We're arguing with them to try and get, but we want to use this bridge for access so that while they're doing this bistro work, we can continue to use the pool. And I know everybody's upset about the pool being shut down, as am I, because the liner that was installed in it was supposed to last 20 years and it didn't. So they're supposed to fix it as part of warranty work. It's scheduled to happen, I believe, on the 17th of April. And once it's completed, then we'll be able to fill the pool and start using it again. But that's what it's waiting on. The bistro, which I've heard strongly that everyone does not want to call it the Healthy Options Cafe or the Live Well Cafe. We want to call it the bistro. Okay. I'm convinced, right? Okay, we're going to call it the bistro. It will look something like this. I've heard that some of you are upset about banquettes, but we kind of need them. Banquettes, those are things that you kind of scoot into, right? I've got good news for you though. It's only one rear end scoot. You don't have to scoot multiple times. It's just one sit down and scoot, okay? To get out, it's different. You got to scoot out. So there's only 12 seats. that are going to be part of that banquet. You can see them here. And one of the things that I've asked the interior designers about, I'm like, why do you want this? Because I'm taking a lot of heat for it. And they said it really is needed to soften the room and to provide some separation. It's a really great way to utilize space, and it will really look attractive when we're done. And I agree that it will. And remember, you have adult children and grandchildren that come to visit. If you don't want to use them, you can sit in the seats or the chairs and then make them sit in the banquet. But I think I'll show you in a second a picture, but it's going to be very attractive. It's going to look really nice, and it adds a lot to the space. And like I said, this is a corridor that goes around it. It will have a half wall that all the way around it, and then a screen above that. And this is what it looks like. And this is the banquettes right here. And you can see some nice plants and things that provide a little separation. Because at breakfast, it's typically not that busy. So you want to kind of keep this little break in the room. Isn't that attractive looking? You've liked it before. All right. So let's try the banquettes. I promise you this. If we're just appalled after they've been with us for about 6 months, if you're just appalled and you hate them, then we'll get rid of them. But let's try it. I try to give the interior designers the benefit of the doubt, right? They're the professionals. These are folks that their primary focus is senior living. And we've liked a lot of the things that they've done, right? The solarium, the lobby. I mean, a lot of the things that they've done are very attractive. So let's give them the opportunity to prove us wrong. Yes, sir.
Are these designers the same one that picked out the carpet that's like a cut into strips?
Yes. Same. Yeah.
They really screwed that up.
Thank you for your opinion.
Take a vote. Take a vote. Everybody hates it.
Does everybody hate it? Sorry, we're stuck with it for a while. Just to talk more about the space, this is this Cardio Strength, the new gymnasiums right here. This is one of the things that I think people are forgetting about is this space this new wellness area does get a new group exercise space, which I think is going to be really nice. So, you know, how we set up Harrisbell Hall for exercise now, sitter size, and then break it down and then send you to multiple places. This will be a dedicated space for exercise every day. We are moving the nurse practitioner clinic right here. And then the salon will be here. This is the new rehab gym right here. That's what we think it might look like. The future, what the Carlisle brings, and I've talked about this some before, Carlisle is going to bring the new dining room right here. So it'll be an independent living dining room, probably kind of a steakhouse kind of feel. And then there'll be an assisted living dining room on this side, one kitchen serving both, and there'll be an independent living there'll be a private dining room right here between the two spaces. So we'll be adding a private dining room for you all to have private parties in and things like that. We are getting a cocktail lounge that'll come with this building, a new lobby, new sitting area and everything. And then the assisted living will have its own lobby and visitor area and corridors. We think that this is what the cocktail lounge will look like. And so it's not like tall bar stools or anything like that. It really is a cocktail lounge with a sitting area. And yes, it will have a fireplace. Whether or not we use it or not, remains to be seen. And then this is the dining room, the additional dining room. That's all I have. Happy anniversary. This is Westminster's 54th year. We celebrated our 54th year, April 1st. So thank you all. And it's 8 o'clock, 8:02. You're going to miss your ball game. I'll answer after. Let me stop the sharing.
second floor, we have the cardio gym. And then we have another gym.
Can't hear the question, so.
And that's doing the same as well as the big gym.
Okay,
You want to answer a question? or not?
I'll answer it after.
Chuck says he'll be happy to stay and answer questions. So I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you had a good time. We had a good meeting. I want to thank everybody that participated. Thank Judy and Julie for the songs. Thank all of you and thank all our Zoom friends for being with us tonight. I hope it was a seamless meeting for you, but if it wasn't, they'll give us the benefit of the doubt. It'll be better next time. So if there's no other business before the meeting, we're adjourned by consent. Thank you.